at CPAC, you can expect that one of the big topics of conversation, like we know that Ted Cruz is going to be giving a speech about this, is cancel culture. It's so important, and it's totally not just the same conversation that had been had about political correctness. It's totally a new thing. So what do people actually think about this? Well, Republicans and independents are more likely than Democrats to think it's an important issue. In fact, 19% of Republicans say it's one of the most important issues facing the country. 2% of Democrats, 17% of independents agree. Now, 19% of Republicans, according to this YouGov poll, saying it's a very important issue is admittedly far less than the percent of Republicans who say that things like jobs in the economy at 58% or immigration and border security at 57%. Or even things like the budget, taxes, and the federal deficit at 53 are important. So even when you ask them specifically, far more will say things that are actually issues than cancel culture's issues. But I also want to point out that according to this poll, more think cancel culture is an important issue than think the military is an important issue, or foreign trade, or abortion, by the way. Like the most politically motivating single issue for Republicans in a long time, other than maybe immigration. They don't think that's as important as cancel culture, let alone things like criminal justice reform, climate change, all these things that they don't think are issues whatsoever. I get that. So it's only going to get more like it's going to become bigger in this sort of polling in the future, because it is effectively all that they're going to be talking about for the next few years is cancel culture. So this is not the high point, my prediction at least. It's only going to get bigger from here.
It's so funny to like, just every way to look at this poll is hilarious, because one way to look at it that like really, is heartening is that at the very least, as much as they talk about cancel culture, when you ask them, they at least have the wherewithal to say, no, jobs in the economy, that's the thing I care about. Mm-hmm. But they do also say cancel culture, which means there's a little shame there. But when they say jobs in the economy, that might just still be like the rhetoric working of like jobs in the economy are getting killed because we care about human beings, and that's evil.
Maybe the only jobs they care about are the ones lost to people who've been canceled. I don't know.
I also love that this is an admission that like, listen, cancel culture is not important, but I will never stop talking about it.
That's
an admission that they never shut up about stuff that's not important. And cancel culture is just a way for them to say that even though the entire economy is set up explicitly for us, and the way America's written down and chartered and has played out since its inception has been for people like us, they still have a way to feel like they're victims, and this is it. They still have this ejector seat for when they're in a conversation and they realize that they can't win it. They're saying they've been canceled, and that's it.
Yeah, if they're in a conversation that they can't win, and the conversation is in any way interpretable as being critical towards them, then you're trying to cancel them. And that's the final point I want to make. YouGov did this poll, and I like YouGov. I like their polls. But the reason that I am talking about cancel culture is I feel like we cannot allow the same thing to happen in our country that happened with the conversation about political correctness, where it just goes on for years. And the right gets to decide what all of that means, what all of the implications are. I want people to understand as fast as possible what this is about. So when I see even YouGov say 2/3 of registered voters, 69%, nice, claim to be very or somewhat familiar with the term cancel culture, or the practice of boycotting people who voice unpopular or politically incorrect opinions. No, that is not. Maybe initially that's what cancel culture was. And maybe sometimes that's what people mean when they say it. They always imply that it's something serious like that you've canceled someone so they've lost all this stuff. That is not what they mean when they say it most of the time. Like Ted Cruz will fundraise off of people canceling him over his Cancun trip. He wasn't getting boycotted, he didn't lose any jobs or anything, he was criticized. That is almost always what cancel culture means. Someone spoke out against something. But now we're conflating it with something like a formal boycott. And that is not what it means. That's not how it used. And so long as we pretend that that's what it is, then people will take it seriously because we're talking about something serious like a full boycott, people losing jobs. No, that's only one tiny part of it. Any sort of criticism gets lumped under this. And I think it's very important for people to understand as fast as possible what the term actually means in application.
Yes, and I get it. There's definitely There is a dynamic where people resort to talking points that shuts down a conversation and implies the other person is not worthy of being listened to. And that's a thing. And that's a real thing. And a lot of people do it. But just how clear it is to me, to everyone who is an impartial observer and not either beneficiary of the white right-wing talkosphere, or someone who just like basks in its warm glow to excuse their heinous behaviors and opinions. They're truly inherently anti-American and evil interests, and I can prove that. But yeah, it is just a way, and they all use it when they don't like hearing an opinion from someone else. They're saying that those people who are trying to either bring just consequences upon me for my actions and statements, or basically they're saying that I am being made out to be a victim by them, so I can declare myself a victim of cancel culture, when in reality they're doing the same thing to other people when the shoe's on the other foot.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to decide, because there doesn't have to be an equal definition. That's the whole point of setting up something like this, is to protect you. But anyway, if impeaching Trump is canceling him, then Marjorie Greene tried to cancel Joe Biden. Okay, if censuring him is canceling him, then they tried to cancel Ilhan Omar. Like, so which is it? Which is it? Very specific behaviors either are or are not cancel culture. But again, it's not, because if you understand anything about this, it's that it is not setting up some sort of standard by which we can evaluate behavior. It is entirely contingent on who is doing it. Republicans doing something is not, from their point of view, anything like a centrist or a leftist doing something. That is bad, that is cancel culture. The exact same behavior done by a Republican is perfectly fine. It's not even worthy of conversation.
And they do it all the time. It's like when Marjorie Taylor Greene put up that sign saying God made two genders. Like, that's not what gender means. That's not what it means at all. And there is a term. Cancel culture could be a term and could originally have been set up with with the intention of having reasoned debate, using that as a way to identify a trend and then try to build society to a better place from there. But every time that Republicans use the term cancel culture the same way, every time Marjorie Taylor Greene uses the word gender, they're just using it wrong. And later when Rand Paul uses the term genital mutilation, he's using it wrong to make a rhetorical point. Come on, guys, 100%. That is a Republican move every step of the way. Yeah. If we create a term, let's stick by it. But the Republicans, the game is always about winning political points and trying to make their base feel good about being awful.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.